Fresh meat.
Whatever his link is to our past, it's pulled us all back here. And I won't sleep until he's in the ground.
Oh, Sydney. It's an honor.
25 years after a streak of brutal murders shocked the quiet town of Woodsboro, a new killer has donned the Ghostface mask and begins targeting a group of teenagers to resurrect secrets from the town's deadly past. That's right, it's been 25 years since a young screenwriter named Kevin Williamson took his love of the horror genre and turned it completely on its head. The genre was on life support as we entered the mid-90s, and Williamson's script for Scream revived it, with this wicked smart take on the genre that poked fun at genre tropes with characters who were actually aware of horror movies and all of their clichés. With direction from the master of suspense Wes Craven, Scream made it fun to be a horror fan again, and thus a new breed of horror was born. Despite the title of the 2022 film simply being Scream, this is actually the fifth installment of a franchise that some may have felt had lost some of its ability to surprise over the years. Scream 2 is universally loved by most fans as a worthy follow-up to the original, while Scream 3 and Scream 4 received more polarizing responses. It could be argued that the franchise's brand of horror and humor may feel dated to some, but it's given a fresh new makeover with this latest installment. Time away has served this series well because it allowed the time to find the right creative team to rejuvenate the franchise and the perfect set of brand new actors to join our legacy players in a story that honors the history of the original film while taking the series to some very exciting places. This version of Scream isn't so much a reboot or a retelling of the franchise, but as one savvy character points out about films of this sort, it's a requel. This is a term that the film explains as a franchise extension that exists between the past and the present, and between what's fresh and new with a respect for the legacy characters. I mean, could you have Halloween 2018 without Jamie Lee Curtis? It needs to be different enough, but it needs to have all the right components to not piss off fans. Much like the 1996 film, this new iteration of Scream toys with this notion as it pokes fun at itself for being the very same thing. To be fair, Scream doesn't pull a Halloween 2018 and forget all of its sequels. All the Scream films are very much in play, but the movie, through use of the film within the film staff franchise, points out that there has only been one good one, while the rest haven't really lived up to the original. This isn't really true of something like Scream 2, but the film's in-joke that slasher sequels are often inferior definitely gets some mileage. Now, Ghostface lures our new victims and original characters in by attacking a young girl named Tara, played by Jenna Ortega. This is a character with a gallery of friends who will make up either the body count or the suspect list. But the most significant is her older sister Sam, played by Melissa Barrera. She's essentially the new Sydney, but with a past of her own that is far more complicated. She became the black sheep for 5 years after abandoning her loved ones when she learned of a family secret. This all comes into play as to why Woodsboro is once again being stalked by Ghostface, and why the new and legacy characters have to come together to face him. Much like Kevin Williamson was a huge fan of the genre, it's very clear that directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette of the filmmaking collective Radio Silence are not only fans of horror in general, but they're fans of Scream as well. When I heard that this team was tackling the franchise, I instantly felt at ease because their 2019 horror comedy Ready or Not was a smart, subversive, and darkly funny horror film that honestly owes a little bit of debt to the style of horror that Scream popularized. You can tell that they were inspired by the impact of Williamson's story and Craven's direction, so they would be the kind of helmers that would understand the assignment to make this new take on Scream work. Their goal is to never try and top the 1996 original, but their moments of inspiration make for sequences that crackle with style and suspense. Take the film's opening scene. The Drew Barrymore opener from the first film is near impossible to top, but the opening of the 2022 film serves as a fitting homage that is filled with tension and the franchise's signature humor. In a way that makes it more relevant for today, the would-be victim of the opening scene is much more interested in talking indie horror films like The Babadook and It Follows, rather than discussing slasher staples like Friday the 13th. Fans will flock to this new film because they're excited to see the legacy characters back in action, but the movie deserves even more credit for providing us with new characters that can carry the story with a little assist from the OGs. The new group of victims and would-be suspects all have solid chemistry, and they'll have their own fair share of fans rooting for them. As the film's lead Sam Carpenter, Melissa Barrera displays the strength, tenacity, and vulnerability that would make any final girl proud, while Jenna Ortega, playing her younger sister Tara, commands the screen with a surprisingly emotionally charged performance. Fan favorites are also bound to be Jack Quaid, playing Sam's lovably nervous and sarcastic boyfriend Richie, and Jasmine Savoy Brown, playing the film's meta-encyclopedia Mindy Meeks Martin. Just one notice of her character's name, and you realize what legacy character she's related to. And she certainly does him justice. Rounding out the new cast and also putting in solid work are Dylan Minnette, Mikey Madison, and Mason Gooding. The original cast is perfectly utilized, And, in a sense, it provides the film a chance to pass the torch while also respecting the franchise's origins. No one feels like they're shoehorned in here, and their inclusion gives the movie a bit of an emotional component that would be absent if they weren't there. Scenes between David Arquette's Dewey Riley and Courtney Cox's Gale Weathers hit all the right notes because there is history between them, and we have watched that relationship evolve over a series of films. Neve Campbell, arguably playing the best final girl in Sidney Prescott, is presented with the respect one would expect from her character. She has lived this experience many times, weathered the storm, and came out ahead of it. When we meet Sidney in 2022, she's no one's victim. She's a survivor that can offer her expertise to someone who is at the center of their very own slasher movie playing out in Woodsboro. Horror fans will be happy to know that Scream is a wonderfully brutal experience. If you thought Ghostface lost some of his ability to generate fear after the third and fourth film, this latest effort brings him back to his roots. The character pulls no punches, and the blood is certainly flowing during several impressive sequences that pop with suspense. Even the voice acting of Roger L. Jackson, once again providing us with a chilling vocal stylings for Ghostface, is more intense and darkly funny in all the right places. The film's third act is particularly blistering with brutality and humor that felt very reminiscent of the third act of the first movie in the best way possible. I avoided discussing plot specifics and key moments because Scream is best experienced from a spoiler-free perspective. What we have here is a franchise that has become fresh again as it offers up a stylish, brutal, and wicked smart take on the horror genre and the fandom that often dictates its direction. The movie manages to strike tones that are both nostalgic and fresh, mixing in a ton of humor, heart, and brutal moments for horror fans that will make them proud to be a Scream fan again. For those wondering if Scream would be relevant in 2022 since the meta craze isn't as innovative as it once was, the film proves why this franchise has always been a cut above the rest as it comments on old and new tropes of the genre with a blistering bite.
There's certain rules to surviving. Believe me, I know. They always come back. The killer is a part of something in the past. This one just feels different.
You're all in danger.
Mom?
Liv?
Sydney.
I've seen this movie before.
Not this movie.
You said we were gonna finish this. Go finish it, Sydney.
Scream.
I'll be right back.
He's dead.
Only in theater and special previews Thursday at 7 p.m. Get tickets now.
Who is this?
Someone who knows your little secret.
She seeks Dewey for help.
Dewey, he's pulled back in because he's still got a huge heart and really wants to help.
Sydney, she's moved on in her life.
It's happening. 3 attacks so far.
And then chaos ensues.
It's just the perfect mix of new energy and also keeping in what made it so special in the first place.
I don't think it's exactly what people are expecting.
There's things that happen in this that are kind of shocking. I still can't believe it.
I've been through this a lot. Whoever this is gonna keep coming for you. So I want you to help us kill him.
So many twists and turns. Who's the killer, who's not? We don't know.
There's certain rules to surviving.
The attacks were all on people related to the original killers.
Whatever his link is to our past, it's pulled us all back here. And I won't sleep until he's in the ground.